Hello there, my name is Aiden H. Talks. I am here to talk about Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story on Netflix. I'm here to give my review and what I thought about the show overall. Now, this is my first YouTube video on this channel. I also run another channel called Words from the Nerds podcast with my co-host Charlie. We talk about all things Marvel, DC, movies, anything we just feel like talking about, we talk about over there. So go check that out. Everything will be in the bio, but today I'm solo. I'm giving this a shot. So I'm gonna talk about this show because I just finished watching it right now. Man, this was a very disturbing watch. It was hard to get through. I'm not gonna lie. Last week I watched Pearl in theaters. I went on a little binge. I watched X. I watched Pearl. Don't Worry, Darling. And I also watched this. So halfway through this season, I kind of had to get away from it because there was so much horror content that I was digesting. But this was by far the most disturbing. First things first, Evan Peters, take a bow. We have to give Evan Peters a round of applause. The way he portrayed this monster was just beautiful. I loved his performance so much. And I'm a huge American Horror Story fan. So I have always loved Evan Peters. I've loved him in all the roles that he gave us in that show. But I'm not gonna lie, whenever I first saw that he was taking this role, I was kind of confused. I heard a while back that he had stepped away from American Horror Story because the roles that he was playing, all these characters that he was playing, kind of took a toll on his mental health. So seeing him pick up this Jeffrey Dahmer role was kind of like it took me back a bit. And then after the credits of the first episode, seeing that Ryan Murphy was producing or directing this as well, had a hand in making this show come to life, it all made sense. And honestly, I haven't watched the Ross Lynch movie of the Jeffrey Dahmer story, but Evan Peters could not have been a better choice. I mean, he nailed this. And we definitely have to pray for him. We have to look out for Evan Peters because this was a tough role. You can tell because it was disturbing and it was hard to even just watch this. But not even just Evan Peters. I mean, the guy that played Christopher Scarver, the man that murdered Jeffrey Dahmer, was phenomenal. And even the man that played Lionel, his father, I mean, the performance he gives is so emotional and it captures the conflict that he must have felt going through these things. There was times where Jeffrey Dahmer was just standing in the house. I recall the moment where he killed the hitchhiker. I think that was his first kill, if I'm not mistaken. And he's standing in the house behind all the weights and everything. Just the scenery around him, just that empty, cold house, and the scariness that he feels, if that's even a word. The scariness he feels of like, how am I gonna dispose of this body? Like, what did I just do? It was all just kind of rough. And that was just the first one. I mean, there are a ton of murders in this show that are just disturbing to even sit with. And that brings me to episode 6, the whole episode revolving around Tony Hughes. I mean, it was rough, and they do an amazing thing where they kind of dole out all of the noise, all of the music, the chatter, because he's deaf, and they kind of let you sit with that, and they build this character. They build Tony Hughes, this person, this real life person, and they show you him hanging out with his friends, how he meets Jeffrey, how him and Jeffrey quote unquote hit it off, and then his death. And that by far was the hardest for me to watch. After that episode, I stepped away from the show for a bit, and I came back to it just recently to finish off my watch. And then Glenda Cleveland, we cannot leave her out. I mean, she is the hero of this story. Even though a lot of the stuff they show us with the police department doesn't really feel great at all, it's still nice to know that there is a hero in this story. There is someone trying to do good in this story. Even Lionel at points, I mean, it's hard to call him a hero in this. Everything with the book at the end, hearing him talk about who's going to play him in the film about his son, it was all kind of just not really fun to watch or listen to. And even him talking to Jeffrey after everything, I mean, I get it, it's his son. I understand that, which is why I'm glad we had a character like Glenda Cleveland to be our hero, our point of view character. She is kind of our leading force through all of these worlds. She's with the victims' families. She's helping them get closure, but she was also the neighbor of Jeffrey Dahmer in this story, at least. She was secondhand to everything that was happening right beside her. So she is kind of our leading force throughout this whole entire story and all of the aspects around it. And for that, you need a great actor, and that's exactly what she gave us. Another scene I really loved that she was in was the split between her accepting her reward and the police getting back into the academy. You can kind of see the split with the police being overwhelmed with cheers and having this little party, this ceremony. And then you cut to her receiving her award and how it's just a dull room with very few people and just fainted claps. It was just so like it made me mad. It made me so mad because these are the police that kind of helped all these murders happen because they wouldn't listen to her. Yet they get this grand ceremony and she gets this warehouse looking room with some people sitting on lawn chairs applauding for her. I also really enjoyed the addition of John Wayne Gacy in this. I was definitely not expecting that, and I didn't catch on until we passed by the picture of a clown framed up behind him. And for a second, I was like, where are we going with this? You know? But then it all kind of tied together, seeing that Jeffrey kind of idolized him in a way of how he was able to find peace with God. And that led Jeffrey to finding that in himself and getting baptized right before his death. So I thought it was a fantastic addition to the story. I know when these shows come out, and I mean, even in the show itself, you have fans sending letters to Jeffrey Dahmer. I've heard the Ted Bundy craze, I've heard all of this stuff around these serial killers that people find beautiful, that people find attractive, that people idolize. And this isn't a hot take or anything. I think it's a clear difference between idolizing them and finding them interesting. There's a show on Netflix I would recommend to anybody in any conversation, and it is called Mindhunter. It is about these two FBI agents who kind of delve into this forbidden science that the FBI has rolled out to try and see what makes these killers do what they do. And I feel like that's us every single time we watch these things. We don't watch it because we love to see it. We don't watch it because we idolize these people, these monsters. We watch it because we want to understand why. We're fascinated with the idea of someone even being capable of doing something like this. So to see it from the victims' perspectives, to see it from the family of Jeffrey Dahmer's perspective, to see all of these stories wrap into one around this monster, it was very fascinating to watch. And I feel like that's something that we definitely did not get in the Ted Bundy movie that they made with Zac Efron. And that's what I kind of compare it to. In the Ted Bundy movie, we had Zac Efron, the hottest guy in Hollywood, playing the super charismatic serial killer. Cool, that's that story. In this story, we have Evan Peters playing this awkward, disturbing person that doesn't really know how to interact with people. And it's terrifying. But not only that, they show us the families, the victims, his family. They show us the police and everything that was happening with them. Because let's be honest, if they did their jobs right, most of these murders would not have happened. And they show us that. They're not afraid to show us the raw stuff in this, and that is something I can appreciate. And another little thing, I like the subtle gore in this. There are some gory moments, yes, but most of the time we're focused on just hearing the noises from Glenda Cleveland's point of view, or other scenes where the camera will be pointed away and you just have to kind of hear what's going on or kind of piece together what's going on. And all in all, it's just hard to listen to and in some moments hard to watch. Overall, I can appreciate this show. I think it was very fascinating. It was very interesting just to delve into that for a little bit. And of course, props to Evan Peters again for his amazing performance in this. I'm sure it was not easy on him at all. So there we have it. That is my review for Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story on Netflix. I say check it out if you love this true crime stuff, if you love to follow these serial killer documentaries or TV shows or movies. I definitely say give it a watch. Let me know what you thought about the show. If you disagree with anything I said, drop it in the comments. I mean, it's the first video. Let's push this out. And if you want to check me out anywhere else, I do have the Words from the Nerds podcast here on YouTube and on TikTok. I'm just under Aiden H Talks. You will find me basically anywhere under the name Aiden H Talks. If you watched this video all the way through, if you stuck to the end, thank you. I appreciate you. I will be putting more of these out. I love talking about movies, TV shows, all of this, all kinds of stuff. So all that stuff will be here on this channel. I'll try and get this stuff out as much as I can. And without further ado, thank you for watching. Peace.